Hi everyone, I'm Julie Long and I'm sitting with Carmen Okhmatovski.
Okhmatovski. Yep.
And you're a marriage and family therapist.
Yes.
And this video is just to help you determine whether Carmen is the fit for you to help you heal any individual, relational, or trauma that's impacting the relationships within yourself or your life.
Mm-hmm.
So I probably kind of answered the question already. Sorry.
Good job.
But yeah, what's marriage and family therapy? Because I guess, there's a stereotype that it's, I feel like I want to get a divorce, so let's go see a therapist,
Yeah, marriage and family therapy, often people think that it's for marriages or for families, but really what marriage and family therapy means is that we're looking more at systems instead of individuals.
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't mean, though, that we don't do individual work. What it means is that when somebody comes to us, whether as an individual or as part of a relationship, we're looking at all of the things that impact that person rather than assuming that the problem resides within that person themselves or the problem is with that person. So if a couple comes to me with relational issues, we're going to look at yes, they're the presenting issue, but we're also going to look at the patterns that they have, patterns of behaviors. We're going to look at outside stressors. We're going to look at history, history of relationship issues or traumas that might be impacting them or impacting their perspectives. And so same thing, if an individual comes for therapy, we're going to look not just assuming, you have this issue, well, you need to change your mind about this and then you'll be fine. It's more like, okay, what brought you to this point? What things have you been through? What kind of relationships, patterns have you formed and are carrying with you? What things in the past have impacted you to bring you to this point?
Right, yes. And I suppose there's one therapeutic approach that you use. Like marriage and family therapy is a very extensive training program.
Yes.
But you've done additional training in brain spotting in order to help people, like if they've incurred a trauma at some point in their life that's impacting how they relate to themselves and to others. This approach helps them resolve that so that you can then use that marriage and family therapy system and framework to help them heal the relationships in their life and then
right.
Yeah,
right. So brain spotting is a midbrain therapy. It's very similar to EMDR or has the same roots as EMDR. And so what brain spotting does is it approaches the issues from the midbrain rather than the cognitive brain, and this means at a more instinctual level where we've stored our traumas and our experiences, more at like that foundational network of experiences that we have stored in our bodies and in our minds. So it really is more about letting the body and the brain take like the reins for the processing rather than us taking the reins and doing it cognitively or logically.
Right, because when we've gone through something that was overwhelming to us, we're not thinking anymore. Our body is making a decision that it feels is best for us in that moment. And so dealing with that part of our body's response is a way to help shift the body so that you can then use some cognitive awareness of self and how you're relating to others instead of getting stuck.
Right. And so brain spotting can be a therapy in itself, and it can also be something that we use to complement a cognitive process once maybe we've moved out of that intense traumatic state.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we understand the type of therapeutic approach that you offer. What are, like, if someone's watching this video right now, what might their life look like right now that they're struggling and say, like, yep, that's me. You seem like a nice person and know what you're talking about. I'm going to email or call you. Like, what are they struggling with?
The big buzzword is anxiety right now, and I think that's pretty much an umbrella for a lot of discomfort. So yes, anxiety, conflict in relationships, conflict with yourself, mood swings, numbing behaviors. So too much work, too much drinking, too much of anything, just a lack of balance.
Shopping, gambling, eating, sleeping.
Yes, all of that. Yes.
Yeah.
So maybe really low mood, just a sense of disconnection. A lot of times people experience disconnection as a feeling of isolation, whether or not they're in relationship.
Right. Like we could be hanging out and I could feel alone.
Right. You can be married and, having a romantic dinner with your partner and feel like they don't see you.
Right.
So that's what I usually call just disconnection. Disconnection from yourself is when a lot of times people just feel like kind of nothing. Like they just don't feel their emotions are like, or they'll, something will happen and they'll be like, I realized I didn't really notice what emotions were coming up for me. I didn't really feel anything in that moment. So there's a disconnection from their self, or just so many emotions that it's hard to contain.
Right.
So disconnection or distress can be experienced in just any way, but really individuals know when they're in distress.
They sure do.
Right?
And couples do too. Okay, so then we know what would lead them to come here. Mm-hmm. So in this office, what would the journey look like so they know that, okay, that sounds like something I'd like to do. Sign me up.
Okay, so first step is to contact Safe Harbor or myself. And so first session is just kind of a getting to know you session and getting to know like what are we working with, people and problem wise.
Right.
So it's primarily for the client and myself to see if we're want to work with each other. Mm-hmm. So I would be getting to know the client, looking at interactions if there's more than one person in the room, getting to know what is it that's contributing to the problem, how is it showing up in your life, what have you tried already to resolve it, and then doing some goal setting, like what exactly do you want to shift, how do you want to get there, and do I feel like I can be an effective therapist for you. And then the client likewise is checking me out and seeing like, is this somebody that I'm comfortable with? Mm-hmm. Do I really want this person, digging around in my personal life? Do I feel like they're safe enough or capable enough? Mm-hmm. And then of course there's like, business end of stuff. So getting to know like policies and procedures. What can you expect from therapy? What can you expect to change? What can you not expect to change? And so just kind of getting the lay of the land a little bit.
Yeah, because if they're coming to you for relationship therapy, they're entering a relationship with you.
Absolutely.
And so do I trust you? Do I feel understood by you?
Yeah.
Do I have hope that you can help me?
Yes.
Right? And navigate that together. So it's just it's shopping.
Yes. Yeah. It is. Yeah.
And then obviously when the fit is there, you enter the journey together and the therapy will look like what you described earlier.
Exactly.
Right? Mm-hmm. And then the end result would be what? Obviously goals met, but...
Right. I like to think of the end result for almost everyone is reconnection. So whether reconnection to themselves, reconnection to their partner, reconnection in the family system, or you can consider it like better alignment.
Right.
Yeah.
And I suppose that would look like better alignment in all the people they traverse in their life journey, whether it's at work or in the community, like checking out at the grocery store, shopping for shoes, whatever. Yeah,
usually a better sense of groundedness is another word I guess you could assign to that. And just a little bit more ease. Because a lot of times people come because it feels like just something's just not working right and the gears are slipping. So the point is to reconnect, to get the gears to catch and to get things working well again.
And so one of the curious things about therapy, well, people come to change.
Right.
But then when they change, things have changed.
Yeah, sometimes therapy is uncomfortable because not only do we not like change ourselves, even though we're uncomfortable in the things that are happening or the issues that we're presenting with, it also becomes our comfort zone. Mm-hmm. So first of all, you have to when you say you have a big issue with your partner and that starts to change, you're kind of getting to know them in a very different way. Mm-hmm. And sometimes people aren't comfortable with that. But also if people are just more many of my clients, they'll have a better sense of boundaries. They'll be self-advocating better. They'll be more at peace with themselves, less they'll have more respect for themselves, so they'll have less tolerance of people who are toxic or people who are not sharing that respect for themselves. And so things start to shift in their personal life as well, or they often do, and that's not comfortable. So it's kind of like one of those fair warning, things will shift. That's the point of therapy, but also shifting isn't always comfortable.
Right. And then with the end result being that if you feel more settled within yourself and then maintaining those relationships that are healthy and have appropriate boundaries, and then maybe shifting out of and creating and developing new ones that do.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. New relationships, new boundaries, new spheres that can actually support you as a whole person and support your health.
And so, do you think that more people are coming for this type of therapy, like marriage and family therapy? Even the way I said that denotes the stereotype.
It sounds so ominous.
I should not have done
marriage
that.
And family therapy. But that's exactly right. Right. That's what people think. It sounds so heavy.
Yeah.
And that's why I really like to describe it more as individual, relational, and trauma work, because that is actually what marriage and family therapy is. And I do think more people are coming for it because I think as a society there's a growing awareness that holistic approaches are the most whole, the most person honoring, the most person centered approaches. And marriage and family therapy is I would say a more holistic approach, not an entirely holistic approach, but a more holistic approach. So we do keep in mind, all of the things that, like I said before, all of the things that are affecting a person and contributing to the presenting problems. And instead of saying, again, you have to change this one thing inside of you that's creating all of this issue. And so because it's more holistic, people are coming because it really does honor so many parts of their lives rather than just focusing on the issue.
And, this is something that you chose to do for the majority of your day, right, as a career. And so what led you to become a marriage and family therapist?
Relationships. So the quote that I like is that the quality of life is dependent on the quality of our relationships. And so for me, it was just a lot of discomfort seeing people in relationships or in situations that were tearing them down as people and not supporting them as whole people and not supporting their growth and their success and their sense of efficacy and their sense of fulfillment in life. So wanting to, walk with people into enjoying life and themselves and everything that it has to offer more fully.
Yeah, and there's something to be said for enduring a difficult journey with someone and then walking out to the other side. Like it's very rewarding. And when you're good at it and people are able to relax and be themselves with you, it's a pleasurable experience to witness someone blooming.
Yeah, it's a huge honor, and I think it's always a little bit, I don't know if I like the word awe-inspiring, but it kind of is when you see this, because I don't think there's anything more amazing than seeing somebody really step into their full potential or their full power. Is the word.
Or to see a couple come in that are at odds with each other, and that there's still a very solid thread that's connecting them, and then just witnessing them come back together and leave more connected than they arrived.
Or that spark of recognition when all of a sudden they kind of look at each other and like, oh, I remember you. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
And for whomever is watching, if this feels like a journey that you're ready to take and Carmen feels like the fit for you, then please look at the link below and reach out via phone or email to Carmen and begin your reconnection journey.
All right. Thanks, Julie.